Liam was an ordinary man living in a city filled with noise and lights, a place where dreams and worries collided every day. He worked as an engineer, designing complex systems for the world's future. But despite the world around him, Liam always felt a little disconnected, like he was a mere observer of life rather than someone living it. One evening, after another long day at work, he found himself at a local coffee shop, his favorite spot to unwind. The place was warm, with the comforting scent of roasted coffee beans and the hum of quiet conversation filling the air. Liam took his usual corner seat by the window, his laptop open in front of him, but his mind was far away from the screen. As he sipped his coffee, trying to focus on his work, a soft voice pulled him from his thoughts. "Is this seat taken?" The woman's voice was gentle, almost like a melody. Liam looked up to see a woman standing there, smiling at him. She had long, dark hair that framed her face perfectly, and her eyes, those eyes, were a shade of green so deep that it felt like they were pulling him into another world. He shook his head, offering her a polite smile. "No, it's all yours." She sat down gracefully, her presence filling the space around them. Liam couldn't help but feel drawn to her, as though there was something magnetic about her that made everything else fade into the background. "My name is Sophia," she said, her smile warm and inviting. "Liam," he replied, still trying to make sense of the sudden connection he felt. They started talking. At first, it was just the usual small talk about work, the weather, and what brought them to the coffee shop that evening. But as the conversation continued, it felt like they had known each other for years. They spoke about everything and nothing, exchanging stories and ideas, laughing at the small absurdities of life. Sophia was unlike anyone Liam had ever met. She was intelligent, thoughtful, and spoke with a wisdom that seemed beyond her years. She had an air of mystery about her, but it wasn't the kind of mystery that made you uncomfortable. Instead, it was the kind that made you want to know more, to peel back the layers of her personality and discover what made her tick. For the first time in a long while, Liam felt like he wasn't alone in the world. He had someone to share his thoughts with, someone who understood him in a way that no one else ever had. It was as if Sophia had entered his life at the perfect moment, when he was beginning to lose hope in finding true connection. They exchanged numbers before parting ways that evening, both of them reluctant to say goodbye. For the next few weeks, their connection only grew stronger. They spent more and more time together, talking for hours about anything and everything. Liam found himself looking forward to their meetings, feeling like he had found someone who truly understood him. But as their relationship deepened, Liam began to notice something strange. It wasn't anything overt, but there were moments when Sophia seemed distant. Occasionally, she would stare off into space, her eyes unfocused, as if she were seeing something that wasn't there. She would snap out of it quickly, as if nothing had happened, and go back to their conversation like nothing was amiss. But it left Liam wondering if there was more to her than she was letting on. One night, after a particularly long evening together, they decided to stay at Sophia's apartment. She lived in a quiet part of the city, in a sleek modern building with floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a breathtaking view of the skyline. Liam had always thought of her apartment as a sanctuary, a place where everything felt calm and perfect. They had dinner, talked, and shared a bottle of wine as the evening wore on. It felt like a dream, one of those rare nights where everything seemed to fall into place. But as the clock ticked past midnight, Liam's mind began to wander. He excused himself to the bathroom, and when he returned, he saw something that made his heart skip a beat. Sophia was standing by the window, her back turned to him. The moonlight spilled into the room, casting a soft, almost ethereal glow around her. Liam stood frozen, watching her, unsure of what he was seeing. There was something different about her. Her figure shimmered, almost as if she were made of light, and the edges of her form seemed to blur into the shadows. For a moment he thought his mind was playing tricks on him. He blinked and rubbed his eyes, but when he looked again, nothing had changed. Sophia was still standing by the window, her body glowing faintly in the moonlight. "Sophia," he called, his voice hesitant. She didn't answer. He stepped closer, his heart pounding in his chest. "Sophia." She slowly turned her head to face him, but there was something in her eyes, something that made Liam's blood run cold. Her eyes weren't the warm, deep green that he had fallen in love with. No, they were glowing, a bright, unnatural shade of blue that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly light. Liam's breath caught in his throat as he stepped back, confusion and fear bubbling inside him. "What's happening?" he whispered. Sophia, no, the figure before him, stared at him with those glowing eyes, her lips barely moving as she spoke in a voice that didn't quite sound like hers. "Don't look at me." Liam was paralyzed. He wanted to say something, to demand an explanation, but the words wouldn't come. All he could do was watch as the figure before him began to shimmer even more intensely, as if the light around her was becoming more concentrated. Then, just as suddenly as it had started, the glow faded. The figure of Sophia returned to normal, her familiar, comforting presence filling the room again. She blinked, as if waking up from a dream, and her eyes were back to their usual shade of green. "What? What happened?" Liam asked, his voice shaking. Sophia smiled gently, though there was an air of sadness in her expression. "It's nothing, just a momentary lapse." She stepped forward, placing a hand on his arm. "I'm sorry you had to see that. It won't happen again." Liam didn't know what to say. He wanted to ask her more, to demand answers, but the look in her eyes told him that there was something much deeper going on, something he wasn't prepared to understand. That night, as they lay in bed together, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that his world had just been turned upside down. Sophia, the woman he had fallen in love with, was hiding something, a secret so deep that it had the power to shatter everything they had built. As he drifted off to sleep, his mind raced with questions. What had he just witnessed? Who or what was Sophia really? And more importantly, could he ever truly know the woman he had come to care for so deeply? The answers, he knew, were just out of reach. And for the first time in his life, Liam felt truly afraid of the unknown. The days that followed were strange for Liam. Every time he looked at Sophia, the memory of that night haunted him. The way she had glowed under the moonlight, the strange look in her eyes, it felt unreal, like a dream he couldn't shake off. But Sophia acted as if nothing had happened. She was her usual self, warm, caring, and full of life. But every time their eyes met, Liam couldn't help but wonder, who was she really? Sophia never mentioned the incident. It was as if it had never happened. Liam, however, couldn't forget. Every night as they said their good nights, he would lie awake, his mind racing with questions. What had he seen? Was Sophia hiding something from him? And if she was it something dangerous? One evening, a week after that strange night, they were sitting on the couch in her apartment, watching a movie. The lights were dim, and the world outside felt distant, quiet. Liam tried his best to relax, but the unease inside him grew with every passing moment. He kept stealing glances at Sophia, trying to figure out what was going on. Finally, he couldn't hold it in any longer. "Sophia," he began, his voice almost a whisper, "I need to know what happened that night, when you were standing by the window. What was that?" Sophia's expression faltered for just a split second, but she quickly masked it with a soft smile. "It's nothing," she replied, her voice smooth and calm. "You probably just imagined it. Maybe you were half asleep and your mind played tricks on you." Liam frowned, but he didn't press the matter. He wanted to believe her, wanted to convince himself that it was just a misunderstanding. But deep down, he knew that something wasn't right. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something about her that she was hiding. And it wasn't just about that one night, it was about everything. How could he have missed it? The odd way she sometimes acted distant, the way her eyes seemed to gleam in the dark, the way she was always so perfect, so composed. It felt like there was a version of Sophia that he hadn't yet seen, a version that wasn't human. The next few days passed in a blur. Sophia continued to be the same, sweet and affectionate, but Liam couldn't stop thinking about her secret. He began watching her more closely, trying to catch a glimpse of the woman he had seen that night, the one who wasn't human. He found himself making excuses to stay up late, to watch her when she thought he was asleep. But every time, she seemed just as normal as ever. There was nothing odd, nothing out of place, but Liam wasn't convinced. He couldn't just let it go. One evening, after another quiet dinner at Sophia's apartment, Liam decided he couldn't wait any longer. He had to find out the truth. As they were getting ready for bed, he made a decision. He would stay awake again, just like last time, and see for himself. He wasn't sure how or why, but he had to know. Sophia kissed him goodnight, her lips soft and warm, but her eyes were distant, as if her mind was somewhere far away. He watched her walk to the bathroom, her silhouette framed by the soft light of the bathroom mirror. He felt a shiver of anticipation. Maybe tonight, he would finally get the answers he needed. He waited, his heart racing in his chest. It felt like hours before he heard the quiet sound of Sophia's footsteps as she moved around in the bathroom. His eyes flickered to the clock. It was just past midnight. He sat up in bed, his mind alert, his body tense. Then the moment came. Sophia stepped out of the bathroom wearing a loose, flowing nightdress. Her hair, usually smooth and dark, seemed to shimmer under the dim light of the room. But that wasn't what caught Liam's attention. No, it was the way she moved, the way she stood there, frozen for a moment as if something inside her was shifting. Liam's breath caught in his throat as he watched her, unable to look away. For a brief moment, everything seemed to go still. The air felt thicker, heavier, and Sophia's figure seemed to blur at the edges as if she were made of something other than flesh. Her skin glowed faintly and her eyes, those glowing blue eyes, met his with an intensity that made his heart race. He could feel it now. The change, the transformation. She wasn't human, not fully. Liam didn't move. He couldn't. He was paralyzed, his mind struggling to comprehend what was happening in front of him. The woman he had fallen in love with, Sophia, was not what she seemed. Sophia stepped closer to him, her movements graceful but calculated. She didn't seem afraid or nervous. In fact, she seemed almost relieved, as though she had been waiting for this moment. "I didn't want you to see this," she said, her voice soft but steady. "But you had to know the truth. I can't keep hiding it from you." Liam's voice trembled. "What are you? What is this?" Sophia sighed, her expression softening as she sat down beside him. "I'm not from here, Liam. I'm not like you. I was sent here to Earth for a mission. But somewhere along the way, I fell in love with you." Liam stared at her, his mind struggling to process the words. "Sent here for a mission? What kind of mission?" Sophia looked away, her eyes clouded with something Liam couldn't quite read. "I'm not supposed to tell you everything, but I'm not human. I'm from another planet, my kind. We're not like you. We live among you, watch you, study you, but I've never felt anything like this before. I never imagined that I would fall in love with someone like you." Liam's heart pounded in his chest. "You're an alien." The word felt strange coming out of his mouth, like he was speaking about something from a dream. Sophia nodded slowly, her expression filled with a quiet sadness. "Yes, but it's not that simple. I don't just transform at night. I was born this way. My true form can't survive on Earth. I'm not supposed to live like this, but I chose to for you. I don't want to go back, not now, not when I've found something I never thought I would." Liam's mind was racing, the reality of what she was saying starting to sink in. He had fallen in love with an alien, but what did that mean for him? What did it mean for them? Could he even continue to live this life, knowing that the woman he loved wasn't truly human? Sophia seemed to sense his thoughts, her eyes searching his face for something. "I know this is a lot to take in. I didn't want to put you in danger, but I couldn't stay away. I care for you too much." Liam felt a mix of emotions flooding through him, fear, confusion, but also something else. He didn't know what to say, but one thing was clear. He couldn't just walk away, not now. "I don't know what to think," Liam whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I don't know if I can handle this, but I can't just leave you." Sophia smiled, a small, sad smile. "You don't have to, but you need to understand that things are complicated now. We can't go back to how it was before." Liam nodded, his heart heavy with the weight of her words. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew that his life had just changed forever. Liam sat silently for what felt like hours, his mind racing with thoughts he couldn't quite catch. He had always believed his life was ordinary, predictable. But now, everything had shifted. He wasn't just in a relationship with someone who was perfect. He was in love with an alien. The reality of it was overwhelming. And yet, as he looked at Sophia, he felt an undeniable pull, a connection so deep that it seemed impossible to break. Sophia was still watching him, her eyes full of understanding. She didn't push him for answers. She didn't demand anything. She just waited, her hand resting on his. "I don't know what this means for us," Liam finally said, his voice trembling. "You're not human. You came here for a mission. What if everything changes? What if you have to leave?" Sophia's expression softened. "I won't leave if you don't want me to," she said gently. "But you have to understand I can't stay in this form forever. The longer I stay on Earth, the harder it becomes to keep up the disguise. But I chose to be here with you. I can't walk away from that, not now." Liam wanted to believe her. He wanted to believe that they could somehow make it work, despite the overwhelming odds. But the more he thought about it, the more he realized how dangerous this all was. They weren't just in love. They were in a situation that could easily spiral out of control. An alien in love with a human, hiding in plain sight. The risks were too high. "How much danger are we really in?" Liam asked. "How much danger am I in?" Sophia paused, as though choosing her words carefully. "There are others like me, but not all of them are as peaceful. My mission was to observe, to blend in. But not all of my kind are here for the same reasons. Some of them are more aggressive. If they discover that I've broken the rules, that I've developed feelings for a human, they won't hesitate to do whatever it takes to stop me." Liam's heart sank. He had feared this, and now it was becoming a terrifying reality. If Sophia's kind didn't want her to stay, there would be no place for them to hide. He wouldn't just lose her, he could lose his life too. "We need to leave," Liam said suddenly. "We can't stay here." "You have to go, and I have to go with you." Sophia's eyes widened and she shook her head. "You don't understand. You can't come with me. You're human. You'd never survive in my world." "I don't care," Liam replied, his voice firm. "I don't care about survival. I just care about you. We can figure something out together." Sophia's face softened, and for a brief moment the vulnerability in her eyes was undeniable. "Liam, this isn't just about us. It's bigger than that. If you come with me, it will put your life in danger. If my people discover that I've chosen to stay on Earth, they will consider me a traitor, and they won't stop until they've found me." Liam stood up, pacing around the room. He couldn't sit still. The thought of losing her, of losing everything, was unbearable. He couldn't imagine a life without her. The idea of going back to his normal life, if that was even possible, seemed like a cruel joke. He had already stepped too far into the unknown. There was no going back. "Then what do we do?" Liam asked, desperation creeping into his voice. "Do we just run away and hope for the best?" Sophia looked down, her expression filled with sadness. "It's not that simple. You don't know what my kind is capable of. They can track me. They can find us no matter where we go. If we run, we might be able to escape for a while, but eventually—" The doorbell rang, cutting off her words. It was a sound that filled Liam with instant dread. "Who's that?" Liam asked, his voice tense. Sophia froze, her face going pale. "I don't know," she whispered. "No one should know we're here." Liam's heart began to race. He quickly moved toward the door, his mind running through all the possibilities. It could be someone from Sophia's world, someone sent to find her. It could be the government, or worse, someone who knew what she was. Sophia grabbed his arm, stopping him before he could open the door. "Don't answer it. Whatever you do, don't open that door." Liam looked into her eyes, seeing the fear reflected back at him. He could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating. His mind raced, trying to figure out what to do next. The doorbell rang again, louder this time, insistent. "I have to open it," Liam said, his voice firm. "If it's someone who knows you, we need to face them." Sophia's grip tightened. "Liam, please, trust me. If it's them, we're both dead." The doorbell rang a third time, and this time Liam couldn't ignore it. He pulled his arm from Sophia's grip and moved toward the door, his heart hammering in his chest. He slowly opened the door. Standing in the doorway was a man. He was tall, with short, dark hair and a cold, calculating gaze. He wore a black suit, and his eyes were hidden behind dark sunglasses. The moment he saw Liam, his lips curled into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Hello, Liam," the man said in a low, smooth voice. "I think it's time we have a little conversation." Liam took a step back, his body instinctively moving away from the man. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer directly. Instead, he glanced past Liam, his gaze landing on Sophia. "I see you found someone," he said coldly. "Too bad he's not going to be able to help you." Sophia stepped forward, her face pale. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice trembling. The man smiled again, this time with a cruel twist to his lips. "I'm here to bring you back. You've broken the rules, Sophia. You were never supposed to get too close to him, but now that you have, we can't let you continue." Liam felt a chill run down his spine. He had known this was coming, but facing it was something else entirely. He didn't know who this man was, or what his intentions were, but he could see the danger in his eyes. This wasn't just some stranger. It was someone who knew exactly what Sophia was, and who wasn't afraid to use force to get what he wanted. "No," Liam said, stepping in front of Sophia. "You can't take her." The man raised an eyebrow, surprised by Liam's defiance. "You're in over your head, human," he said, his voice laced with disdain. "You don't understand what you're dealing with. You never will." "I don't care," Liam replied, his voice steady despite the fear that gnawed at him. "You're not taking her, I won't let you." Sophia stepped beside him, her hand gently resting on his arm. "Liam, we have to go, it's too dangerous. They'll stop at nothing." Liam shook his head. "No, I'm not leaving you." The man stepped forward, his eyes narrowing. "You don't have a choice. We don't have time for games." Before Liam could react, the man reached into his jacket and pulled out a small device. He pressed a button, and a strange, pulsating light filled the room. Liam felt his legs buckle as an overwhelming wave of dizziness hit him. His vision blurred, and he struggled to stay on his feet. Sophia moved quickly, grabbing Liam and pulling him back toward the apartment. "We need to go now," she shouted. With a surge of adrenaline, Liam fought through the dizziness and followed her. They couldn't stay here. They had to run, to escape. The man's warning echoed in his mind. They were being hunted, and there was nowhere safe. Liam grabbed Sophia's hand, determination filling his chest. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for sure. He wasn't going to let anyone take her from him. Together, they would face whatever came next. Together, they would fight for their love.